Use the code CHICKEN in the shop.
Hey guys, the Chicken is here. We're back today with another Boom Beach video. In today's video, guys, we're going to do a bit of a wrap-up and review on Season 52, looking ahead to Season 53 and all that good stuff. Guys, you haven't already, appreciate it. If you throw in that code CHICKEN in the shop, it does help support the channel, and we've got some crab coming up this week in just a little bit, so if you want to grab in some training, I do appreciate it. Also, we're going to be running our giveaway. If you guys can see all of this stuff behind me, this is some of the stuff that you can win. I got the studio kind of finally set up, but things like that. So figurines, t-shirts, merch, Supercell stuff. I'm going to be able to give away to you guys once a month now, so I'm excited for it. And if you want to join that, you just become a channel member. And we do it as kind of like a raffle kind of thing. So it's for channel members to join, and then you just, whatever level that you join at, you get more entries into the giveaway every month. So I think it's a fun way to do it. We'll do like a whole live stream for it and that kind of thing. If you guys want to see more on that, make sure you join the Discord server. Link is in the video description. So yeah, let's talk about Season 52 first off. So the season as of now has come to a close with 14 hours left. That's pretty well, that's going to be it. That's all. Now we'll do a quick leaderboard check here. It does look like it moved pretty quick over the weekend, so I think it's probably going to finish pretty close to where I'm at. I think we're still safe at 2298, but it's not going to be a great finish. We're going to be low 400s or high 400s probably by the time everybody does hang it up. So you can see right here, it did jump up quite a lot, 2253, even just in the last few hours. It's kind of make me nervous. So let's talk about the season. Now, I feel like this season, it wasn't great. It wasn't great. Now, I am going to do this without, this is not my personal take on how I played the season. This is the season as a whole. So even though it wasn't one of my better seasons, I'm not going to be biased towards that. There were good points in the season, for sure, and we'll go over that. So let's just start off. So right out of the gates, I thought it was an interesting, I thought the meta was going to be a lot worse than what it was using, what's the actual name on these guys? Clone Rifle. We figured it out at the very end of the season, guys. Clone Rifles. So using these guys, it was nice. It was a nice change of pace. The only problem with Clone Riflemen is they're very strong. So, we kind of just ended up using those the whole entire season. Which is fine, I think, for Clone Rifles because we don't typically have them. But it's like getting Bombardiers in 3ER or heavy choppers in 3ER. Anytime we get a troop that's just the best troop, I feel like it should be more towards the end of the tech tree, or at least in the middle, depending on how many defenses they have. Because it gets a little bit stale, just using the same troops over and over again. Now, the attacks were wildly different at the beginning and the end, so, I'm not going to harp on that too much. So, yeah, I thought it was going to be worse. But, the golden critters, the crystal critters, they were able to get some pretty good value out of it. So, between using clone rifles and crystal critters, kind of cool. We haven't really had a meta like that. And it worked, it wasn't impossible to get engines. The beginning of the season was fine. I really didn't have that many problems at the beginning of the season. Now, as we got into 4ER, and this seems to be a very common theme for the last, 10 seasons or so, they have all the defenses, and we don't really have a lot of tools to get around them. This was made more prominent this season because we did not have Kavan. Thank God we didn't have critter launchers, and we didn't have seekers. So it left us with the option of using either tanks, which was not fun, rocket choppers, which were great for a bit, and some guys used them towards the end of the season. And there was clone rifle, Zuka, heavies were, even though I had them unlocked, they were not really a part of the conversation at all. So we were essentially still just using clone rifles and or tanks at this point. And yeah, it got very grindy in this general area because we didn't have any good troops to use, and the defense severely started to outweigh the offense in terms of what was better. So I don't know. When people start to make those 4 and 5 yard just fizzle bases, and it gets very difficult to get an engine, and the attacks take all of 5 minutes because you're using tanks, that's not the best. So how do they fix this, right? It's easy to complain. How would they fix this? I think, honestly, throw bombardiers in. If for whatever reason, if there has to be a ton of defenses and there's just no better way to balance it, just throw bombers in there. I think that's just an easy kind of crapshoot thing you don't even really have to think about, and then we'll be okay. Because typically bombers, unless there's no heavies, or unless there's no good troops to use with them, like if they're just by themselves, they're not very good. But I don't know. I think that's an easier. If it's not bombers, at least give us something else, or throw a troop health, troop damage in just to kind of mitigate all the extra defense. I think there's some moves they could do to go that way. So I ended up skipping all of this. I played the entire season without a hero. So they took out Dr. Kavan. They gave us Brick, Everspark, and Bullet. But they were all kind of out of the way, which is fine. I think if you want a hero, you should have to dedicate your path to it. Like, I think it made sense where they put Sparky because she went really well with Rocket Choppers, and then you had the option to get Critters as well. So yeah, it was interesting playing without a hero. Thankfully the Proto Rifles ended up being so strong. It wasn't the best thing, but I would have, if I was going back in, I would have gone back in and got Brick for sure. Super Warriors, they were cool. They were good for a minute. I kind of like how they do this with the extra gunboat abilities. I believe they said on the sneak peek that abilities that aren't affected by upgrades. So I think that's namely Cryobomb and some other stuff. They're actually going to take out the upgrading token aspect from them at all. So it's like you unlock, for example, Super Warriors, you unlock them and they're maxed out. So that would be interesting. But it was cool to see Super Warriors get a little bit of... have their moment in the sun for a minute. The problem I think going from 5 to 6 here was it was all about getting all the stat nodes, and jumping ahead, going 6 to 7 without those stat nodes became fairly tough to do. So whenever they cram in a bunch of these stat nodes, I feel like it just forces the player to have all of them, because that's what you're going to be matched up against with for the most part. So, I don't know. I think spreading them out a little bit better. I think a simple thing, add the troop damage and troop health back in here, where it gets really defensive. So, moving along. The prototypes this season were okay. They were... I felt like... You guys remember the one season we had the level 3 prototypes of everything? They were all maxed out. That was fine, I guess. That was fun, but I think they were too strong. I think this is a better way of doing it. You get the level 1 protos at the beginning, the level 2s in the middle, and level 3s at the end. So I like that. Remote defib. This was probably the highlight of the season. This is where the attacks actually started to get kind of fun, was remote defib, and those of you that were able to get the remote hack at the end of the tech tree. It's just different. And I had a lot of fun just kind of exploring with defib. I was very stressed out by the time I got there about parking, so I didn't really get to enjoy it. But it's cool to see new stuff coming in, and being able to add it, and it's actually helpful and that kind of thing. It was cool because it's like Kavan, but you get to put the second win wherever you want and not have to worry about him dying. So it was cool to see some attacks kind of form around the remote defib, whether you were just clearing ERs with them or if you were just beefing up your main attack with them anyways. I thought that was cool. And the hack was really good. I mean, the hack's great. It's nice to have stuff like that at the end of the tech tree rather than just more like boring like GBE nodes. Like, give us some tools maybe to make the attacks more exciting and just offer some more options in whatever that meta ends up being. So that's kind of the review. Overall, I thought the season was okay. Actually, I might change that. I would say the season was bad overall. I would say the season was not great. We've done so many of these reviews where it's like, it's kind of got to the point where it's like if the season was playable without any like game-breaking bugs, like it's just not a bad season. And although 4 and 5 ER was tough, the rest of the season did end up kind of flowing towards the end and at the beginning. So I'd say it was bad. Okay, I'd give it maybe a 5 out of 10 score. But you guys let me know what you think. What do you think in the comments? Do you think it was a good season, bad season, like it, love it, hate it? Let me know down below, and we will catch the next one, guys. Chicken out. Back.